evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to another episode of The Fifth. Tonight is going to be a good one, y'all. We are looking into Poetry Unlocked with Miss Waterfall Adams. All right, so I'm glad you're tuning in. Today is Tuesday, June 23rd, 2026. And without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring Miss Waterfall Adams to the stage, everybody. All right. Hey, Miss Waterfall Adams, thank you for being here with me this evening. How you doing? Can you hear me? Are you there?
Hello?
Miss Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. You are live on the 5th. So we're just saying, welcome to the 5th. I'm excited that you're here this evening. I'm excited for what you have to
We're
share
glad
with
to
the
be
people.
here.
Can you hear me?
Hello? You're kind of stuck.
Ah, let me come off. Let me come back.
Hello?
Are you there now? Can you hear me
Is
now?
everything okay?
Can you hear me? See, we seem to be having some technical difficulties. I don't think Miss Waterfall can hear me. I'm hearing her, but
I
she's
can
not
hear
hearing.
you.
You can
Well,
hear
I can
me?
hear you fine. Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can absolutely hear you. We're good. Let's go. Let's go. Let's move forward. So I was saying that I have you on the show with me this evening. All right, we have a little technical difficulties, but that is working out itself. So I'm going to go ahead and let you introduce yourself to the people out there.
Well, my pen and stage name is Waterfall Adams. I'm a creative professional that is based in Mobile, Alabama. I was born in Paducah, Kentucky. I have self-published two poetry books called The Eclectic Mind of V and Free to Be V, which are available on Amazon and other outlets. If they're not on there, I'll try my best to get them on there. And also, I'm trying to get the audiobook version together. And I'm also a secondary host on a podcast called Cinema Bros with Ethan Horton, and I'm trying to start my own podcast called The Eclectic Story Weaver, and many
That's
more
awesome.
other
Awesome.
endeavors.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So you sound like you're pretty busy. You got a lot going on. You're writing, you're co-hosting a podcast, getting ready to start your own podcast. And I know when you and I previously spoke, you also spoke about another book that you're probably going to be putting out. Can you tell us the name of that book?
It is called Make Money While Sitting on Your Ass, a no nonsense guide to getting paid with the word ass, but a dollar sign. I get that on there. The first it needs to like editing and polishing and stuff like that.
Nice. Nice. So you're a poet and you're an author. That's good. That's good. I'm glad that that's your passion. I'm glad that you're following your dreams because so many people have dreams, passions that they have, and it doesn't manifest into the dreams that they would like to see come true. So just having, someone on here that being self-published, it just means that you don't have to wait on somebody else to get what you want. You can actually do this on yourself. And she is on Amazon. Both of the books are on Amazon. I have been on there and I have seen it for myself, gone through the biography of it. So, like she said, she's in Mobile, Alabama by way of Kentucky, published author. So let's first jump right into it and, let everybody know, like, when did you first start getting into poetry?
Well, probably a long time, like since high school. I probably read poetry like before, like long before that. In fact, I think the first poem I ever heard was in like one of the I think it was the United Negro College Fund commercial of Maya Angelou "Still I Rise,"
Yeah, the
and
infamous Maya Angelou still arise. So you've been into poetry for, a while now, right? When did you first realize that Yes, I'm into poetry. Yes, I hear about Maya Angelou still arise. But when you first realize, like, I think this is something that I not from I want to do it, but this is something that I can do, and actually, put books out there like you've done.
Well, I have done spoken word poetry when I was at University of South Alabama, and
Hmm.
also some of the poems in my first book is probably some of the poems I performed back then. I just written more poems, kind of fill the book out some more, and also what. And I looked at like ways you can make money with poetry. One of them is like put them in a book.
Yeah.
So why not?
Right. So why not? Because we all need money to live. We need money to eat, all that good stuff. So you said that you did stand up poetry before. Um, I'm thinking stand up poetry is like bringing your poetry that you've written, come to life. So when you're in the creative mindset of writing and then going into creative mindset of doing stand up poetry, how are those two processes the same or how are they different, if anything?
Well, different depending on like the audience. For example, it depends on the kind of content the poet writes. Like depending on like the show or example, like some events might be like rated PG-13, and
Right.
some poetry events like adults only. Some of those poems have spice, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. So does your poetry go across all of those lines, or does your poetry? Let me just put it this way: does your poetry stay PG 13, or do you start going into that rated R, blurring the lines kind of thing?
Well, it's kind of PG, just a little bit of profanity. There's no erotica
Right.
in the books I've written. It's a little bit of profanity, not a whole lot, just like little bit of it.
Okay. Okay, I get that. So later on in the show, if you guys stick around and watch, you're going to get to hear maybe a poem or two or a little snippet of something, from Miss Waterfall Adams, right? So just stay tuned, stay with us, and then you'll catch something later. So just moving right along. Have your upbringing or the where you grew up or the things that you were exposed to when you grew up, has any of that impacted your poetry that you write?
Well, I'm not written poet, but I've been reading since I was like 2. And I
Okay.
remember growing up with like books in the house.
Right.
And I also remember a book of a collection of Maya Angelou poetry and some poems by Langston Hughes, and I think something from James Baldwin, I think.
Right. Okay. Okay. So being in the poetry, I know you say you did stand up poetry at when you were in college, right? Were you
And
into
also
any
do open
other?
mic nights whenever I can too.
You currently do open mic nights when you can?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's good. You're keeping your craft polished. So that's awesome. Are there any other of the arts that you're into, like when you were in high school or in college, acting, anything else, or is it just poetry?
Well, I was in the African American club in high school, and also I love to dance. And I
Right.
was in the choir back then. Maybe I could have done more like extracurricular activities back when I was high school. But then again, I would have been taking too much and got stressed out and burnt out back then.
Yeah, sometimes that happens. You feel like you have all this time and feel like you have all these things to do. But once you start doing all those things, you realize that your time is constrained. So let's talk about the your which one was your first book? What was your first book called?
The Eclectic Mind of V. In fact, this year marks the 5th anniversary of it.
Well, congratulations, congratulations. So tell us, how did the eclectic mind of V?
The Eclectic Mind of V. I remember I had this like
How was
collection
it
of
born?
poetry. Well, I had this collection of poetry that I written down, but I had no idea of like what the title was going to be for it. and
Mm-hmm.
the subject matter of each poem is about different things. And I know that word like eclectic. It's like it's defined as a mixture of different things. And the word V is like the shortened for my government name, my first government name.
Right, right. Okay, I'm glad you said that because I was gonna ask you, why the eclectic mind? Like, what made you come up with that title? But like you said, eclectic is a mixture of many things, and your poetry doesn't just focus on just a certain, genre or one specific kind of content. You're kind of very broad about what you do. So, is there any specific topic that you prefer to write about over something else?
Well, I don't really pick out like a specific topic per se. If I
Hmm.
have a poem in me, I'll write it down.
Right.
In fact, I might during this interview, I might do 3 poems today. In fact, here's a poem. It's not in either one of these books, but I have recently wrote it. It is inspired about the inflation and all the black and high number of African American women who lost their jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And please excuse the language on this poem. It's called WTF. What the
Mm-hmm.
fuck I gotta do to make some money?
Okay.
So
Okay.
here we go.
All right.
Like seriously, what the fuck I gotta to do to make some money? Increase my skills to pay my bills? Sell some fish sandwiches? Sell some chicken? Sell some frozen juice cups?
Mm-hmm.
Sell candy? Do some hair? Post pics with my feet? Show a little leg? Show a little cleavage? Show a little ass cheek? Work the stroll? Hit the pole? What make some bands on the OnlyFans? I could be working a traditional 9 to 5 or work my own hours. I could be a high school dropout or have some degrees. It seems like my best efforts are not enough, no matter how hard I try. So much to resent because I can't pay my rent.
Mm-hmm.
High prices got me in a crisis.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're hiring all right, but just not me. So you tell me what the fuck I gotta do to make some money. Thank you.
I get it. I get that. I hear that. I hear that. And it's interesting that you wrote that because, that is a lot of plight, that a lot of women make just wanting to make money for them to stand on their own 2 feet. It has gotten better in some sense, you know what I'm saying? Of you don't solely need to depend on a man for you to live the life you want to live, but you are right. It almost seems like the women that are making the money at some point they have to devalue and degrade themselves and use their body as in a sense the money machine. So I'm sure a lot of women feel that way, like, what do I have to do for me to just be able to feel like I'm standing 10 toes down? I hear you, Tori. I'm checking the comments while we go. I hear you, Tori. Listen, it could be like open mic. You know what I'm saying? Only person that got the mic right now was Miss Waterfall Adams. She's the guest on the show, but it could be like open mic. You might be on to something where I might have to do an episode on open mic night and just, let people come on and, bless the mic and do what they do. So that's pretty cool. I like that.
Well,
Good. Is
can't wait
there
for that event.
That's gonna be awesome. I think I might be onto something. So, is there something particular in your life or a close family member's life, or like you said, just going on the world that made that hit so close to you that you were like, you know what, I'm gonna write a poem about this? Is it close to home, or are you just taking the
It,
events in the world and putting it out there?
well, a bit of both. Like first of all, it's like how like prices are going up, and also when I was helping my mom out in the like food delivery or whatever. I noticed
Yeah,
how the gas prices got, and also a grocery shop and how get those prices got, and
right.
utilities how certain prices got, and
Yeah.
also like one job like that what they call back in the old days, like a stable 9 to 5 income, don't really
Right,
work anymore. Got to get a side hustle or 10.
right, for sure. For sure. I mean, I was living that life. Before I keep going, what's up, Miss Sky Marley? Thank you for joining the show tonight. It's nice to have you, first time guest. So I'm loving it. This is what I love about having different guests on the show. Different guests bring different people. So, that's a plus. I'm just plug, like I said at the end of the show. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and then you can see more of Miss V. If you are on here and you hear this and you for yourself might say that you're a poet. You know what I'm saying? Get ready because I am going to follow through on open mic night, get a few people on here and share this. Okay. So thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. Now we talk about the eclectic mind of V. Talk to us
The
about a V.
well,
Tell
the
us.
eclectic mind. Well, the eclectic mind of V is about the arts, blackness, 21st century issues,
Uh-huh.
and some personification points. While the
Right.
second book, Free to Be V, is about freedom, race, um, right, religion, black womanhood, and you might find some quotes by yours truly and quotes from well-known people.
Right.
All credit from those quotes go to the well-known people.
Right. How when there's so many people, I was having a conversation with a future guest that I'm gonna have on here this morning. I was having a conversation with the person this morning, and one of the things that we were talking about was just the so many people living in this world live their everyday lives and have probably never experienced and probably never will experience what it really means to be free. So when you write a poetry book that's called Free to Be V, what exactly are you getting at in Free to Be V?
Well, maybe free to be oneself, no matter what people in society thinks.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Where have you seen yourself like showing up in a particular situation if you could share and just realize like, yo, I'm free to be me. Like I'm free to be V. This is an exact moment where I say I am free to be me.
Well, I think it's probably like a long line process. For example, I'm like full figure, trying to lose some weight though for my health, but I'm like 6'1", 6'3". I'm neurodivergent. I'm African American.
Hmm.
I'm a woman. That kind of have like a lot stacked against you at times, and people look down on you in spite of you being over 6 feet.
Right. Right. So what do you say to people that because I hear you say, I'm tall, I'm an African American woman, I'm a full figure body woman. There's so many things that's stacked against me. But how do you find freedom when people when you in your mindset is saying there's so many things stacked against me, people are looking at me in this certain way. How do you navigate life to find that place to be free? Is poetry a way that you escape from all of that stuff in the world?
Well, one of those ways, I think. It took me
Yeah,
a long time to be comfortable in my own skin.
yeah, yeah. Like many people, that's not something easy to do. A lot of people, sadly, cannot live in their truth because of the perception that other people have placed on them. So therefore, you don't find the freedom in just being yourself. And it takes a lot of work. It takes trust in yourself. It takes trust in the way that you show up for you to be free to be in your skin, no matter your color, no matter your gender, no matter what your job is, no matter what your family history or your background is. You ultimately are the person that choose how you're going to show up. So, I like that you have, free to be V, the eclectic mind. I commend you for putting it out there. Like you
Thank
said,
you.
this is one of the vehicles that allow you to just express yourself, and I commend you for that because so many people are stuck and have placed themselves in this bubble based on the perception of others, and they don't have a vehicle. They don't know which way to go, and even if they show up in a certain kind of way, they kind of revert back to it because you don't get the response that you're looking for to push you into this other element. So it's like being stuck between a rock and a hard place. You can see what's in the horizon and where you want to go and how free you want to be, but you're stuck in this perception of how somebody else sees you. And sadly, that is the thing. That is so the way of thinking for a lot of women, but it's the way of thinking for a lot of even men and young boys and young girls. So I'm saying all of that to just say that, if you're watching, and you feel that there is a perception about you that about yourself, find an avenue, find a vehicle, find something that you can do that will propel you into becoming the best version of yourself. Because we all only have one life to live, right? And we hate to miss out on opportunities because we're living in the perception of what somebody says who we are or say that we should be. So find a
That's
vehicle.
that. It reminds me of a poem in Free to Be V about what you're talking about. May I recite it, please? And also, there's another poem I am trying to adapt in the stage and screen.
Right.
Like
Okay.
this first
Okay.
poem, both of these two poems, they're in Free to Be V, and then the other poem I'm gonna recite is called "We Have to Dance." Even though it can be found in the Eclectic Mind of V, Free to Be V has more of a revised version of it. So here we
Okay.
go.
All right. Here we
This,
go.
this this one's called "Facade." Fake it till you make it,
Yeah.
please. Ignorance is a thing that will not stay blissful very long. The whole keep your head down thing does not work for me. You can't really see what's going on that way. Always having to with the Jones keep up with the Joneses. They're broke too.
Ah,
Keeping up appearances. The fake image will crack eventually. A united front. What people think about me. Screw them. Telling
right.
lies is one thing, but living one is quite another.
That's good. That's good. And that last, I know a little bit about poetry. I don't know if that would be called the last stanza or the last
Yeah,
line. You know,
that's one.
I want you to read those last two lines again.
Yeah, let me go back on that poem again where it let me
You said
find it
telling
real
lies, said telling lies is one thing.
but living one is quite another.
Yes, yes, and it's interesting that that is what how you ended that poem. Exactly what we were discussing before that. The lies that people say that you sometimes end up living up to, and the lies that people say that make it so hard for you to live out in your true self. So it's not easy, by no means, by any means it's not easy. Especially when you talk about growing up, I mean, in this world that we in right now, where it seems like the black and brown race is trying to be erased. You really have something that you really have to fight for and stand 10 toes down on your truth and not believe the lies that are being told about you. So I think we have a very good leader, and I'm going to call her a leader, and Michelle Obama. So they may not be in office anymore, and people always say that's my president, and it's not because he was black. It's just because he stood for humanity, just good people. So I think she led the charge and put us in a good place for us to just realize, like, look, when the whole world is watching, I'm still gonna be me. I'm still gonna show up, and I'm still gonna. Not only am I gonna show up, I'm just gonna show up black. And black is not what you expect black to be. How I'm showing up, I'm black. And I'm educated, and I'm refined, and I have values, and I have morals, and I'm about humanity. So that's excellent when you say, you got to be able to live in your truth, and it's not one of the easiest things to do. You know, that's good. That's good. So I love that. You read us 2 points from the Eclectic Mind of V. You read us
Well,
from Free.
actually, that first poem, it wasn't from any book. And like the next book I'm going to recite, like I said before, it can be found in the first book, but the second book has more version of it.
Right. Okay. So they are more revised. Is that the only one that's revised, or you have some more revised poems in that
Well,
other book?
this is the only one that's revised. It is
Okay.
based on the history of African American dance.
Uh-huh.
It's called "We Have to Dance."
Yeah. Yeah. And
As a people,
I like that title. If you can just elaborate on that title and what that poem actually touches on when you say we have to dance.
we have the dance. It's about the history of African American dance. It starts off from Africa, the
Mm-hmm.
motherland, to
Right.
the digital age we live in today.
Good. Good.
As a people, we have the dance. Way back in the motherland, we always had the dance through times of joy, sadness to heal, and rites of passage. We always have the dance. Through
Yes.
times of enslavement, we still have the dance.
Right.
Even when they try to take it away, we dance through the shade. From the juke joints to the migration, we have the dance. Even when it's time to pay the rent, we have to dance.
Hmm.
Through depression and World Wide War, even though there were two of them, we have the dance. In the dance studios and sock hops, we have the dance.
Yeah.
On television and through civil unrest, we have the dance. Live and in color. We can get smooth and we can get rough. Live and in color and integrated. Through the Soul Train days and the disco nights, we have the dance.
Yeah.
With BET, MTV, VH1 in the box, we have the dance. Through social media, we have the dance. At
Yes.
Broadway, church, the club, community centers, competition, Hollywood, television, social gatherings, universities, all over the world, we have the dance. We even put our own spin on it. Because of this, I shake what my ancestors gave me and get my Jackson on. So to the future and beyond, we have to dance. Thank you.
Nice, 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 nice. I love that. I love that. I love that. And you are absolutely right. You know, the dance continues. The dance,
Mhm.
it's like it will never stop. You know, and I hate to say this, but you know, when you talk about dancing, and you especially, and I'm not gonna go down a rabbit hole, but especially when it comes to just religion, you know, you just seem like you have to put on a dance or a song and show. And I'm not talking about for other people, I'm talking about in our own churches, you know, just the scrutiny, you know, and the manipulation, you know, and just the criticism. You constantly in a position where you constantly have to dance, you know. So when people always make this line or they say, you know, be your own people, then you kind of want to be like, wow, let's bond together, and let's not let that dance be about anything because you're putting me down, but let's bond together so that we can dance as one, you know, and together, you know, make that strand, that cord so much tighter that when we do dance, you know, it makes a big roar and it makes a big thunder and it makes a movement that just is untouchable and unmovable. So I love it. I love the poems. I love the meanings, you know, that the poem's good. I love the conversation that the poems can open up to. Um, yeah. So is there anything else that, you know, that I haven't touched on that you would love to share, love for the people to know about, you know, Waterfall Adams? Well, before you answer that, let me ask you this. Waterfall Adams is your stage name, your pen name. Why that? Why did you choose that?
Because there's a lot of people with my full government name,
Right.
and this name stands out.
Yeah, but why Waterfall?
So I wanted something unique and something that would stand out.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's unique. I mean, you know, I mean, it's something that It wasn't a thought in my mind. I mean, I was thinking there was something behind of it. So for it to just be something that's unique and stand out, that's pretty good in itself. That's really just like reaching out there. So I like it. I like the name Waterfall Adams. It says a lot. It rings a bell. And I think it's a name that the world should be on the lookout for because, you're self published now, but there's no telling where this journey will take you. So I'm just glad that I can be one of the people on the groundbreaking of who Miss Waterfall Adams is now and beyond. So yeah, I just thank you. I thank you for being on here. I thank you for taking the time. I know you made time today for other, personal reasons. You are here, and I appreciate you going out of your way and putting aside, your feelings and the way that you're feeling. Let me make that clear. Not your feelings, but the way that you're feeling to still show up and do the podcast with me tonight. So I'm appreciative of that. All right.
Oh, all right.
Any closing words?
Okay. I'm about to on the comments. I'm about to give my Linktree app that Linktree link. It sums up where I'm at on social media, where I can be found.
Okay.
And a quote from my second book: "Give credit where it's due, or there's sue." Oh, here's the Linktree link, and
Okay.
also here also the
Let me see
link
if it
from
pops
my.
up. I don't see it just yet. So let me see. Did you post it already?
Yes, and I'm also giving the links to my books as well.
All right. I guess it'll probably show up on Facebook, or YouTube, or where I am. Most of everybody that was on it was some YouTube, so maybe it'll show up on Facebook, but I'm not seeing it on my YouTube post. So go ahead and
Okay.
just put it out there because it's a recording. People can backtrack and listen to what you say. So tell them how they can find you.
Well, I sent a Linktree app, and I'm also I sent the like links to my books on the through the like comments. I think I try my best
Okay.
to send them
It
back
may be on Facebook.
some.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it might be
Facebook.
on
Yeah,
Facebook. I don't see it on. Okay, awesome.
maybe I'll put them on the comment section when I get on YouTube and watch this episode.
Okay, that's a good idea. That definitely is. So yeah, so thank you so much for joining me tonight. I wish you the best in all your
You
future
too.
endeavors. I look forward to you coming back because I am going to, maybe I need to start a summer series and do an open mic night and just have some people jump on and see what's happening. And I would love
That's
to
a
have
good
you back.
idea.
Yeah, I would love to have you back. No rhyme, no reason, nothing in particular. Let's just have an open mic night. And I could do that anytime I want to because my podcast, it's my show. I can get on whenever I want to. So thank you so much for sharing a part of you this evening. And thank you so much for just inspiring others to be yourselves, to be true to yourself and keep grinding, and put yourself out there and follow your dreams and follow your passion. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching the fifth, I have been joined tonight by my special guest, Miss Waterfall Adams. Miss Waterfall, please don't go anywhere. Stay on. But I want you to remember from the fifth to me, like your future is forward, my future is forward, and together we all can create a future that's moving forward. God bless y'all and good night. Be well.
Good night.